and people are trying to find their identity to be the next Charlie Kirk or to absorb that audience that's hungry to hear something. That's why people are going to the conspiracy. I've seen people online that I've trust for years. Why are you doing that? And then I look at their views, Dave.
Yeah.
They got 1 million, 1.2, and these people don't need to prove anything.
Yeah, right. That's the beauty.
That's the thing of conspiracies. You just throw out stuff to the wind and say, allegedly, they have what we call a parasitic mind. They have a parasite in their mind. I don't know if it's natural or spiritual or both. They consume themselves. And I think God gives their mind over to evilness, from Charlie's death to the cost of goods to Donald Trump's actions to everything is Israel's fault.
Grace and peace, everybody. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. If you've been involved in these social media streets, you have heard the constant drumbeat that people want other content creators to call out Candace Owens. And of course, one of those names that constantly comes up is Brandon Tatum, Officer Tatum, if you will. And so he recently went on the David Rubin show and was talking about these things about Candace. And he talked about them in a roundabout way. He didn't necessarily call her name out, but he did. You know, if you know, you know, right?
I don't know, but I know. You know, I don't know, but I know.
I want to look at this because even though I appreciate him doing his best to respect his friendship with Candace and doing his best to still call her out, call a spade, I still don't think this is enough. But I want to hear what y'all think. So down in the comments below, welcome to the best live chat on the internet. Jump in there. Let me know what you think about it.
What do you make broadly about what's going on the right now? Like, I know we can spend all day kind of diagnosing, what's wrong with the left and identity politics and woke and all that stuff. My feeling on the right now is Trump created this unbelievably robust wide tent thing. I'm fighting very hard to hold it as much as possible. I think what he's done almost across the board has been phenomenal. But there's definitely a lot of pressures in that, and I think post Charlie, that now has added some weirdness to it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that the right is divided tremendously. And there's a fraction of the right that have come out as the stupidest, most ignorant folk I ever seen in my life. I'm shocked when I see certain people get online and say stuff. And I'm like, where have we gone? We used to be the party of dignity, respect, and actually abiding by truth. We have now devolved in part. I'm not saying all of us, I'm not saying most of us, but we have devolved in part where you have people that say Donald Trump is really the person who saved this country. We voted for him 3 times already. We believe in him. He's done all these tremendous things. But then you have people that say, now he's bought and paid for by Israel. Now he's a warmonger. Now he's evil. Now I don't trust him. He appointed Kesh Patel, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, who we loved. I've never had a problem with Dan Bongino. All of a sudden, because they don't give people the results that they want, because they bought into a conspiracy too deep, now they want to turn on them. I'm okay with saying, hey, man, the information that's being disseminated is not good enough. That's fair. Mm-hmm. You guys dropped the ball with the binders and all that stuff. That's complete stupidity. Donald Trump is completely out of his mind when it comes to the way he presented the Epstein thing. Like, dude, he's tone deaf. It's okay to say that. But to say these people are corrupt and they're part of the deep state, I mean, what are we doing to our own side? We're cannibalizing the very people that have been fighting for the same movement that we've been fighting for over a decade. And I find it to be horrific. And the Jew thing is really what's causing a lot of it, which is weird, that a lot of the division is on the Israel thing. Dave, I didn't think it was a big deal, dude. I was like, it's common sense. They're a terrorist attack them and they're fighting the terrorists. That's it. But then when I saw the fake videos come out, I began to get irate and I began to go hard against all the lies. But I've seen so many people on our side turn on me. I'm getting paid. I'm a shield. They call me some dude, I don't want to say his name, which he'll never say this to me in person, called me a monkey. I mean, these are mainstream people saying stuff that they've never said online in a racial manner because they hate Israel so much. So those things are causing a big rift. And I think Charlie's death is creating it too. You got the conspiracy side that think the government is in, Turning Point is in on it. And then you have reasonable people that's like, let the investigation unfold. Trust that in good faith, something is going to come out. The defense is going to argue the same thing that naysayers are arguing, but they're going to argue it from a point of fact and evidence. So wait till it come out and make a judgment on it. But it's sad to say, but it's a lot of division going on our side.
Yeah, it's weird because in some ways it's like Charlie was kind of the door. He was the fence that was stopping a lot of the crazy because he was able to talk to people on both sides, even on the right where little things popped up. He could kind of do a little dance on both, which I think you sort of said before. Sometimes people were frustrated with him because of that, you know, trying to be able, you wanted him to go harder on this or that or the other thing. So without him, it does feel like there's a missing piece of all this.
Yeah, there's people jockeying for the new spot. I think that's what we're seeing. And some people are doing it overtly and some people are doing it covertly or whatever the case may be, but it's a jockeying, right? There's a vacuum and people are trying to find their identity to be the next Charlie Kirk or to absorb that audience that's hungry to hear something. That's why people are going to the conspiracy. I've seen people online that I've trust for years. I've seen people in the military and they're saying that the lapel mic blew up and that's what killed Charlie. And it's like, why are you doing that? And then I look at their views, Dave.
Good question.
They got 1 million, 1.2. And before this, they had 25,000 views, 10,000 views. And I think that's kind of what's creating some of this.
And that's, by the way, that's why I always mention the bot thing or the click thing, the algorithm thing. That's part of it. It's definitely not all of it, as we said before. But it's interesting. Like at the end of the day, if you were someone and you were just like, oh, the crazier things I say, the more clicks and money I make, like, almost everyone would do it. It's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would be immune to it in some sense. Like now over the years, I've learned the game. I see how it plays out. But if you were just somebody that was kind of nominal, average YouTuber, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh, the lapel mic blew up 1 million views. You're gonna do it again the next day. It's nuts.
And these people don't need to prove anything.
Yeah, right. That's the beauty.
That's the thing of conspiracies. You just throw out stuff to the wind and say, allegedly, my sources say, I heard this. It could not be true. And this is a tactic that people are using that's very evil to me. To know and intentionally put a theory out and say, I didn't really say that. That's evilness to me. You need to be very clear about what you say. In a time like this, I have an incredible platform. I'm a former law enforcement officer. I have enough integrity to say, I'm not going to jump off the cliff out of respect for Charlie Kirk's legacy. I'm not going to jump into conspiracies. Even if I have questions, I want to measure the things that I say so I'm not producing false hope and false information to people because it hurts people. Erica is being hurt by the things people are saying about her and about Turning Point. Turning Point employees, you know, Dave, you spoke at plenty of events. These young people are so innocent. They want her to fly. They lived to serve Charlie Kirk in many areas. And the security team that I see travel with Charlie everywhere you go, to make rumors and speculate about their integrity while after they watched their good friend whom they served him with their lives die in front of them, and they couldn't stop it. They are dying on the inside. And people are pouring flame on these young people. There's young people across campuses. I've been to probably 40 different campuses. Young people volunteering their time and putting their life on the line, getting knocked in the head with bike locks and everything to support the movement. And we're tearing it down and acting as if they had something to do with it or they are part of the problem. And it bothers me, man. I'm telling you, it bothers me.
No. Well, that was partly why I wanted to have you on this week because you were one of the people in the last 2 weeks. I was like, this guy's just consistently making sense around this stuff. Meanwhile, I'm watching other people that we both know that are literally releasing his text messages, private text messages. It's like I have text messages from him that have political connotations, but I would never like. It's so psychotic.
Charlie says things to me at events. Now that a lot of stuff is coming out, that I was like, maybe he was hinting at. I wouldn't dare even bring this up the day he died, the day after he died, at his funeral, the day the day the memorial happened. You have people sharing intimate conversations with him. It's like I got so many messages between me and him, but out of respect for that man's life and legacy, I don't need the clicks. I don't need the drama. I got my own platform and things that I'm pushing. I'd rather spend that time promoting Charlie's legacy. We literally spent the first 6 days that he had died, or after he had died, raising money to write Erica a check. I mean, our goal was to get to $1 million, which would be a blessing. But instead of people saying, what are we going to do to bless Charlie, his family, or whatever, they're dragging him down with conspiracies, and it's wrong.
Right.
What do you make of the class of people that are endlessly obsessed with Israel? This tiny little place, always just saying phrases. Okay, two-state solution. Of course you were right in your analysis. Like, it's just another terror state. They ripped every Jew out of Gaza, the Israelis, in honor, in effort to get peace. That didn't work. But it's just like this endless class of people that wake up every day, and that's the thing to focus on.
I think that what happens is they have what we call a parasitic mind. They have a parasite in their mind. I don't know if it's natural or spiritual or both, but it's something that happens to people, Dave, and you've seen it, and we know people personally that have fallen off the cliff. Once they go down that path, they don't end the path reasonably. They go off of a cliff. And I don't know how they get to that point. It's reasonable for people like you and I to question things. Why did it take so long for the retaliation? Why are we lasting for 2 years? What are they bombing indiscriminately? Are they killing people at the feed zone? Like, we can have questions and go through those questions and get legitimate answers. But for some reason, these people, with not acting in good faith and asking real questions, they consume themselves. And I think God gives their mind over to evilness, and they begin to be consumed with it. Because I don't understand how a person can get on their platform, had never really talked about the Israel issue to a certain degree, but then they obsess with it. That means that all roads lead to Jew Lane, or Israel Boulevard. I mean, from Charlie's death to the cost of goods to Donald Trump's actions to everything is Israel's fault, and that's not normal. And I think that's what's happened to people. They have a parasitic mind.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like there's like an algorithm version of it. You're just going to get clicks, which are largely just foreign bots. So there's like some financial aspect, but I don't like to just put it in that. I do think you're right. There's a spiritual aspect. It's like at the end, in a way, it's like, oh yeah, if I can just connect everything to the Jews, and I can make some money along the way, it becomes like this really, really, really insidious thing.
Shout out to Officer Tatum and David Rubin. I thought this was a good conversation. You can hear, of course, some threads of Candace clapback, if you will. I still believe, even though Brandon Tatum is a friend of Candace, I do think a full-throated refutation of Candace by calling her name is necessary. I do think that will help out a lot. But really, when the smoke clears, Candace Owens needs Jesus, really, at the end of the day. Now, I try to be funny. She needs Christ. So I'm praying and hoping that Christ comes into the equation much sooner than later. But in the meantime and in between time, I want to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments below. I'm looking forward to rock with y'all. So let's do it real soon. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.